So you were born and raised in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Your father was a police officer.
Yeah.
You moved to New York in 2004 to attend Parsons.
Right.
You started a blog where you interviewed creatives.
Right, yeah.
After Parsons, you wrote a book called The Young and the Banging.
It was like a book deal for my blog. I just photographed like 200 kids between Parsons and NYU. It was all documented on Polaroid photography because Polaroid at the time was kind of going out of business. It was really hard to find that film. And so the whole book was all Polaroid and it was, a yearbook about New York City.
And this kind of led to a job at Nike, right?
Right, yeah. They asked me, what was the most creative thing you've ever done? And I was like, I had that book. I had already launched that. The yearbook was 2008, and then these kind of came a little bit after that. I think the Givenchy Rottweiler bootleg was the first. That was a really popular t-shirt at the time, and it had never come in any other colors except for black.
Right.
And so I wanted to purposely make it look fake.
Okay.
I wanted to bootleg a shirt, but I didn't want it to do it on black tee. I didn't want to I wasn't trying to capitalize and make money and sell someone a t-shirt that looked like it was real. I wanted to look super fake to really get under people's skin. I did the NASCAR one after that. And so there was a whole story with that shirt because obviously those are all proper corporate logos. I was like, how am I gonna get away with this if someone sends me a cease and desist or tries to sue me? And so I made up a story that I found, it was called a found factory defect. I found these t-shirts that were factory defects in a thrift store in Tennessee. And I had never been in Tennessee ever. And so I was just thinking about the culture of NASCAR. I was like, I'm sure there's a lot of NASCAR fans in Tennessee, a lot of t-shirts with NASCAR being printed out there. So I was in Tennessee and I was shopping around in a thrift store and I found a dusty box in the corner and I opened it up and it was these NASCAR shirts that were factory defects because the logos were flipped upside down. And I asked the store owner if I could buy those. And then I just relabeled them with Heron Preston.
And that was a whole fictitious story?
Yeah, I made it all up. And so I started selling them like crazy. I was really into the idea of giving people what they're not supposed to have. Imagine finding two M&Ms stuck together. That's lightning in a bottle. That never happens. Right. The New York Times eventually wrote a big article on the resurgence of logo culture, and that was the centerpiece. And then the street sweeper Air Force One, again, just pushing this idea of what we're not supposed to have. 3 competitors coming together all of a sudden. I took an Air Force One and I removed the Nike swoosh, the Nike check, and then I put a bathing ape Bapes to Star cut in Gucci fabric onto the shoe, and I called it the Street Sweeper. Again, just giving people what they're not supposed to have and just getting these dreams and these ideas outside of my head. And so immediately I started thinking about what I could do, and I remembered that I wanted to also redesign uniforms. The Department of Sanitation is a uniform workforce in New York City that cares about the same things that I care about. They have Don't Litter printed on their trucks. They have really amazing uniforms that are impossible to get access to. So I had this idea to do a t-shirt collaboration with them using vintage and secondhand t-shirts to help emphasize recycling and sustainability. I started building this presentation. I started building my pitch. And so my thank you was going to be raising money with this t-shirt collab to gift Sanitation department extra money, right? Because I know they have their city and they have budget cuts, and so when they realized that there was an opportunity to make some extra money, but also do something good for the city, the eyes immediately lit up. And so they called me and they were like, "Yo, we want you to do your upcycled event." So it was an exhibition in the street. We shut down Spring Street, and it was a see now, buy now event. So you could, we presented the product, but you could also, purchase the product there. And it was all upcycled from sanitation worker uniforms that were donated to me. I washed those, cleaned those up, and then added new graphics, and that was the whole entire collection. And so we sold that and started the foundation. DSNY has 9,000 sanitation workers spread across New York City, and I just saw my uniforms on 9,000 people across New York City, and that was my city takeover. I feel like Virgil getting hired to do Louis, that's a collab. That's crazy,
And obviously Virgil is a good friend of yours, and I'm sure it means a lot to you, but what do you think it means to the streetwear market?
It means so much. Virgil just really rewrote codes, really pushed a possibility and broke a boundary that kids didn't really think was possible in the past. I was kind of reading some comments yesterday online, and kids were like, do I even have to go to fashion school anymore? So it's kind of thinking really disrupting kind of like a traditional kind of journey that people have taken to get in the position that he's in. Again, helping kids dream, I think that is where you really kind of drive this idea of the collaboration to the next level.